Did you know there are packs of Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper that have some gorgeous images that you can cut out, sometimes with just a pair of scissors, other times with some dies, but they're great to embellish your layout and work with the stamp sets even too. So you can do some stamped images or some pre-designed images as well. My name is Amanda Farlinger with From Where I Stamp near Kingston, Ontario, and I help busy women scrapbook their memories using stamps, ink, and paper. So this paper is part of the Beary Christmas suite in the mini catalog. And this paper is gorgeous because it has some presents, trees. I love the polar bears. And you can purchase the stamp set, and there's a punch. I decided just to get the stamp set because I figured I'd only use the punch with the stamped image, and I'm not too bad at cutting that out. So here are some of the images I've cut out. We're definitely using these on my layout today, but I've also cut out some of these little presents. And some of them, like this is from the edge of the paper there. So some of them we'll have to layer. I'm not sure if we'll use those presents or not, but we're going to scrapbook these photos. So I've been working on 2011 a lot lately. So we're going to continue that theme. We're going to do some more 2011. This is our second Christmas in this house. So this is the same house I'm in now. And it's been really weird because we've been here, I think this will be 14 years this November, which is really strange to think of because we moved every 2.5 years for a long time. So it's weird to be here this long, but I want to scrapbook these pictures because even though our tree will look very similar year to year to year, the present wrapping paper is different. I mean, outside will look the same. Can you see little Griffin? Can you see him there? Can you spy Griffin's eyes? And so there wasn't a lot of snow, but there's not a lot of changes from year to year. But it's really interesting to see. Sometimes there can be changes, like you might change the color of the paint on the wall, or you might change the color of the lights out front, or maybe you have a tree in the front that, like our oak tree, it's like 1,000,000 feet tall now when it was just a little stick when we moved in. So you never know. And to make this nice and easy, we're going to take my scrapbook layout sketch number 3, this one here. I used it for a Garth Brooks concert layout here. And if you want this with all the dimensions and links to projects with videos on how to do it and some other information for you, then you can go to subscribe from whereistamp.ca, and that will get you the 3 free scrapbook layouts, sketches, and how to use them. So the link is on your screen. It will also be in the description for you as well. All right, so we're going to use this, but you may have noticed I don't have 2 portrait photos. So I've taken one of these photos and I've twisted it to the side. So I want the house to be more predominant than the tree because I really like the snow coming down, and we're using the snow and the tree for inspiration. That's why I picked the Beary Christmas Designer Series paper. And I think I have that, right? Let me check the catalog. Beary Christmas Designer Series paper. And this is really interesting because I thought this was white, but it's actually a vanilla base, very vanilla. So you can use white with this, but very vanilla coordinates better with the colors and design of the page. Now, back to these cutouts. I'm just going to move things out of my way. So this paper here, and if you're wondering what products I'm using to create this page, that will be in the description. So then you can go and purchase that. If you're in Canada, you can purchase that with me. So I have all these little presents are from this page here. And this is actually this green piece. Oops, trying to get the layout over. This green piece here, the back side of it is all the Christmas presents. So if you're not a big fan of this kind of tree snowflake design, then you could flip it over and do the presents, either one. And then This bear came from this sheet here. So, well, it's going that way. So there's only a couple of these bears. So I think it was down here maybe. So there's the bear, and then the bear with the tree. Oh no, this was the bear with the tree, and this was the bear in the present. So I just cut around them with my paper snips, and then I cut around this one quite a bit. So you'll see here, I cut out the blue and just left the paw holding the tree, so it was one piece. And then these trees, which I have popped up on little Stampin' Dimensionals there, it's from this page, and this page is the trees that we're going to use as a border down here. Now this piece I've already have glued onto the page just so it helps me lay out my pieces for the video. So this here, I've cut out some trees, but you could cut out the little polar bears. They're just adorable. Or use this as your backdrop. It was really hard to pick what papers I wanted to use. So remember how I said for this photo here that the snowflakes really called to me. I'm just gonna move these out of the way. So we have this snowflake paper here, and I figured that would be the best base. You could start with colored cardstock instead if you wanted, instead of designer paper. Now for this layout, I already have my journaling done. I feel great about that. Usually I don't do journaling right away. But this layout calls for like 3 layers on top of your base layer plus your title. So my title is going to be on Misty Moonlight. And I have my piece of Very Vanilla, but it's not 12 by 12. And I'll show you why. You may not have 12 by 12, and you can modify 8.5 by 11 cardstock to fit your 12 by 12 layouts. And this one will be really great because the photos will cover that piece. But we're also going to add another layer using Night of Navy. And we're going to use the coordinating stamp set. So remember I said I bought the stamp set without the punch. So the punch does this bear here, but we're going to use these snowflakes. And we're going to use some Night of Navy ink, which we also need our Simply Chamois. And I've already done some of a pattern here. So we're just going to continue the pattern over here. Oops, if I don't drop my blocks in the ink. Right there. And this I just did a haphazard, like stamped one snowflake, stamped another, moved off to the side. Make sure when you're doing a piece like this that some of your snowflakes go off. You kind of can't see them. Some of your snowflakes go off the edge of your cardstock. So that way it looks like it was one long piece of paper that you trim. So like a designer paper, the designs go off the side, which is not a problem. It just makes it look better. At least I think it looks better. Okay, I'll put my stamps away later. Now, another thing you could do is if you didn't quite like the trees in the designer paper, so say you didn't want to fussy cut these out because there is no die for them. There's no die for these trees either, but you could always, or say these weren't the right color, so you could always stamp these and cut them out in the color that you want. All right, so we did a little bit of stamping, Night of Navy on Night of Navy, and I just used a scrap piece of paper there. All right, looking back to this, and a reminder, the link for this is subscribe.fromwhereistamp.ca, and the link will be in the description for you to sign up for the layout so you can follow along. And then you can come back to either this video to scrapbook with me, or you can follow along with that other layout that will be linked in the tutorial. Okay. Now, this next stamp set is the More Wishes stamp set. And I love it because I fell in love with this stamp set, Biggest Wish. And you'll notice that they have the same, what's the word I want? Font style. That's the word. So you have a script and you have a block, which is really cool to match up, especially when you're doing like two-tone, like a light color or a dark color or vice versa. So you can put these together. So you could do Happy Christmas, Happy New Year, You could do, I was going to say Merry Birthday, but birthday wishes. There we go. That sounds better. Merry birthday. Unless someone says it in the world, I'm sorry. But you can mix and match these words and figure out different things that you can say. And there's an exclamation mark and an ampersand. So you can do, no, there's no me, but you could do me off of the Merry, me and you as a title. So you could block off the RRY. That would be a pretty cool title, me and you. All right, enough of the words. We're going to use some Memento Black, and we're going to use just the blocks. And we're going to do Merry Christmas because, actually, let's do this one here. And I like putting my photopolymer stamps down on my tabletop first and then picking them up with the blocks. So that way they're a little more straight than if I just try to plop them down. So we're going to put Merry on first. Now, one thing I would suggest to have is with the photopolymer, it doesn't have that like foam buffer that our red rubber ones do. So hopefully this stamps. It's a brand new stamp set, so I haven't used it yet. But our photopolymer stamp sets don't have that cushion. So having this cushion here will make it better. Okay, I'm going to grab just the ink. Looks like it's pooling a little bit on the one side. You really can't see it. That stamp's okay. But brand new stamps can sometimes have a little bit of residue on them from the manufacturing process. So you might have to season them or just go with it. We're just going to go with it. So we're going to do Merry. Not bad. And then we're going to ink up Christmas. Okay, Christmas fits. Big enough to fit. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, excuse my head for a minute. I'm going to try and put it down fairly close to the Merry. Not bad. A little off, but I mean, you could restamp it if you want, but really in the end, no one's gonna really notice that. And if they do, they're too picky. Although you're allowed to be picky. I'm not saying you can't be picky. All right. So move that out of my way. So back over here. So we have our title, we have our photos, we have our pieces, we have an extra piece, we have some journaling. So because I have this as a landscape photo, it covers up the spot where some journaling could go. This here, we want to make a flag. So I'm just going to use my scissors and make a little flag like so. There we go. Now I'm going to put that down first before I put all my other pieces, just so I have the right kind of spacing. Some glue on there. And then we're going to put this right up top. And if you wanted to build this up, add some more layers to it. Actually, let's move it down here. You could put another strip behind it. You could put a strip right across the top. You know, you can emboss, like heat emboss that. Okay, move my photos out of the way, my journaling. All right, so I was going to show you how to use 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock with 12 by 12. So if you just left it alone, you'd have a little bit on either side. But because this is going to be covered up with our photos, you could use a paper trimmer if you want, but we're just going to use some scissors. And then the straighter side, so not the side I cut, but the straighter side, I'm going to use that over here. Now the hard part is to try and get the same kind of width. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Eyeballing it, if you really want, you can get some grid paper or even use a ruler. I used to be, if you go back and watch some of my videos, I used to be very worried about it being the right, like being exactly straight in this right distance and all that kind of stuff. And then I decided that it took too much of my time to do that. So it wasn't worth my time to figure out it to be exactly straight. So do what you find is best. All right. And sometimes putting things on straighter, you turn it. And that helps. Okay, so I probably put that down too far. Give me. Nope, that's good. I probably should have put this piece down farther, but it's been glued down for a while, so that ain't gonna change. Okay, and then we'll put some glue on the back of this present piece. And I know it might seem a little early for Christmas, but you can always pre-make some layouts. So that way, when you get to Christmas, you know kind of how many photos you might want to print, or if you need a landscape and a portrait photo. So there's, it's not too bad an idea to make some layouts ahead of time. All right, so there's all our layers. So I have a couple, I have an extra layer here. I did some stamping on here and here. And right now, to me, this looks very, very busy. But the photos and the journaling and our bears and presents are going to break this up. So before I put my photos down, I'm going to add my journaling. Now I designed this so that it was longer to tuck behind the photo. So see how this is covering up this hole? Oops, that hole down here. This is going to cover it up. Now this is going to be up here. And then we're just going to tuck this behind first. I got the hiccups. And then we're going to glue this down. And I already put my photos onto the cardstock, but I used some Stampin' Seal just a little bit on the corners of my photos. Okay. Something like that. So I'm covering up this little piece down here is why this 4x6 is going to be here. And that's why this, not only do I like this one better, but then I'm covering up the shadow and the chair and whatever. All right, now I have a bunch of dimensionals on the back here. So I'm just going to pop these off. And then this is going to cover that chair. And I'm using the lines to get an idea. Yep, that should work. Okay, now this bear with the presents on the back will go up top. And we'll put it right here. Delivering presents. And then this one here will go down here. As a reminder, the products I've used on this layout will be listed on my blog. So the link will be down below for you. And the blog will also have some other details, some close-up photos and whatnot. Okay. So I just put some, I didn't put them right on the tip of this tree right here. Oops, can you see? Because it's going to overlap this house photo. So I didn't want to put any adhesive here because this is already lifted up. So that tree is just sitting on there. All right. Now that looks a lot less busy, doesn't it? I really like how this layout turned out. So this is the idea, the scrapbook layout sketch. And I've switched it up for the photos that I have. Oh, and the presents. I don't know, actually. It might not need, oh, it needs presents. It needs presents. I like the presents. We don't need all the blue presents. I kind of like this, actually. Wish this, maybe that. Maybe just two. Maybe I'll put that up in dimensionals. Why not? And a tip for you for these dimensionals. See this little piece I cut out? That went on the top of this tree because the star I cut out was bigger than these hexagon dimensionals. So you can always trim that edge and then make sure to use that edge because that edge is still sticky. You just need some scissors to cut it apart. That's all. All right. And then I think I'll put dimensionals on the back of this too because it's fun to have popped up elements on a layout. Okay, so let me know what you think of this layout. And there is some other gorgeous designs in this designer series paper that I look forward to using. So I hope that you'll follow along with me and scrapbook along. I love making these videos for you because it's my way to share my passion to help all of us, wherever you're watching this, to find time for a little creativity in your life. Until next time, happy stamping.